In this video, I'm going to be taking you through how the Ultimate Fitness Global Protocol took me from having no hope for a better future to smashing every single goal that I set. At the start of my journey to success, I was in a terrible situation. I had no hope for a better future, as I didn't think I was deserving or destined for anything better than the situation I was in then. Because of this, I resorted to quick forms of dopamine in the forms of drugs, binge eating, porn, doom scrolling on social media, anything I could do to get some form of joy in my life. This resulted in a lack of physical activity and a very poor diet consisting of highly processed foods, very limited protein, and pretty much no micronutrients at all. This perpetuated the problem even more. And this was a result of the lack of structure and focus I had towards anything. As I said before, I didn't believe I was able to achieve anything more than the situation I was in then, or deserving of it. But I was left with a choice. Do I stay where I am, or do I strive for a better version of myself? Thankfully, I did strive for a better version of myself, and through implementing the lessons I got along the way that I have now put into the Ultimate Fitness Global Protocol, I'm now striving to always be a better version of myself, embracing the work necessary to reach my goals, to reach my optimum. I'm training my body like my life depends on it. And now I'm eating like a monk. I'm eating whole foods, naturally sourced, high protein, high micronutrients, and all this together has really shaped where I am now. So, who was this protocol made for? For a start, it was made for people wanting to get into the best shape of their life. The knowledge I have of the current exercise science literature, coupled with the experience and knowledge the other trainers here have at Ultimate Fitness Global, ensures that you are going to be put in the best situation possible to drop the body fat and pack on the muscle size. This protocol is also for people that need help getting into the mentality necessary to attack any goal they set. Now, this isn't just going to be to do with your training and diet. This will also be to do with your habits, your work, any goal you set. We're going to help you get there. Now, it's also for people that are wanting to learn how to program these splits and diet plans for themselves. Because once you leave us at the end of the course, we want you to have an understanding of how to maintain your progress. So, who is this protocol not for? Well, if you're satisfied staying exactly where you are and never progressing, never willing to take accountability and follow simple yet not easy instructions to get jacked and ascend in all other aspects of life, you're content with having a scarcity mindset, constantly stressed, full of anxiety, and do not mind living with your back against the wall. If you're extremely busy and cannot prioritize time to develop yourself physically and mentally, if you're not ready to take massive action in order to take control back of your life, then this protocol is not for you. Now, here's what most lifestyle and body transformation coaches will not emphasize enough. And you can absolutely get results without these things, but if you want to get the best results and refuse to settle for mediocrity, you have to do these things in order to get there. So first of all, stop being a yes man to everything and prioritize yourself. Stop saying yes to whenever your friends invite you out for a drink. Maybe they're doing something fun, but you should be doing something more productive. You need to prioritize your future self over your current want for comfort and shortcuts. And no, this does not mean you can't have a social life. This doesn't mean you can't have a drink or a little treat once in a while. This means that you need to put yourself in a situation where you're still progressing in the best way possible towards your goal and can still have a mix of that social life within it. You also need to be willing to go out of your comfort zone to truly maximize your potential. So all this stuff online where you hear people saying, you can get the best results possible without tracking your foods or sticking to a strict workout routine. You can still, go partying with your mates all the time. This is not true. If you want to maximize your results, you need to be willing to sacrifice things such as this and go out of your comfort zone. But if you're okay living with a mediocrity mindset, that's totally fine. This is, again, not for you. But don't worry, I won't let this be you. I'll give you the truth and what is necessary to be the man you've always wanted to be and need to be. I will help you find comfort within the discomfort so you can truly obtain a warrior mindset. You'll be pushed hard to create a physique you can be proud of and much more. We will show you exactly how to get rid of your limiting beliefs and emotions, how to have mental and physical stamina, how to attack and succeed in any goal you make, how to make a training split like a pro, and how to calculate your macros for the best physical results possible. And in case you didn't know me already, here's a brief backstory of how I got here. Every day was a struggle, even just to get out of bed. I was smoking weed every day and drinking regularly. I had no hope and no motivation for any dream I had. And yes, even people in hell can dream. I had an awful diet consisting of processed foods and lack of nutrients. My physical activity was pretty much non-existent at this point. I'd left my rugby team, which at one point in my life was my dream to become a pro in that sport. I'd stopped going to the gym. I wasn't eating much food. I was hardly going out at all with my friends. Pretty much just kept myself in a dark room, scrolling social media, and again, taking drugs, not really doing anything with my life. However, through trial and error, I figured out the best method anyone can use to become the man of their dreams. The Ultimate Fitness Global Protocol is the system me and Mike built through our own trial and error. The methods and habits we teach you to live by have been tried and tested by us and many others in order for you to get the best results possible. Now I've decided to break it all down for you. In the next few minutes, I'll outline the entire process A to Z of what I did for myself and my clients to accomplish these results, so you too can use the Ultimate Fitness Global Protocol to be the best version of you. The Ultimate Fitness Global method has 4 main pillars: mentality, sustaining progress, physical training, and our diet. All these things coupled together go very well hand in hand for making the optimum version of you. Now let me take you through how we can help you optimize each of these pillars to the best of your ability so you can finally become the person you've always wanted to be. Pillar 1, mindset. A composer, when leading the orchestra, has to turn his back to the crowd. When you embark on this journey towards success, you will have to break away from the societal norms. And at first, you will probably be judged for this because to other people, it's not normal to stick to a diet. It's not normal to stick to a training routine and set yourselves proper habits in order for you to reach your goals. But if you came here, I doubt you want to be normal. I doubt you want to live with that scarcity mindset and that mindset of mediocrity. So, the first part of mentality for us is the monk mode mindset. Before I instilled this mindset, I had no structure and order. My stress levels were through the roof. And after introducing the monk mode mindset, I now have structure and order, and I have inner peace and continually wiping out my stress. So what is the monk mode mindset? Well, the monk mode mindset is kind of like what it sounds, setting yourself a strict routine that you will stick to every single day. Waking up and going to sleep at the same time every day, sticking to your staple foods, reading every day, having a showering routine. What this does is, again, sets order within, structure within our lives, which will create inner peace. And this is not easy. But if you want to be the best, these kind of things are necessary. Smart goals. Before I started setting smart goals, I never believed in myself. I was always stressing about my goals. And after introducing the SMART principles, I have full faith in my goals and I'm attacking each goal with certainty. SMART principle is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. These are all very, very important. Specific, I want to get fit. In what way? Do you want to get better at running? Do you want to lose body fat? Do you want to have better heart health or more muscle mass, which are all indicators of better health? It needs to be measurable. So, for example, I want to lose weight. Okay, we can measure that through the weight scales or the way we look in the mirror. It has to be achievable. You can't lose 30 kilos of fat within a week. It's just not possible. And, if we set ourselves goals like that, obviously I gave you an extreme there. It's going to be very demotivating when you realize that this is just physically impossible. And we're going to be very realistic with you. And going to realistic, I want to lose 8 kilos of fat in 8 weeks. That's possible. But you also need to take into account, are you going on holiday in this time? Is there things that are going to get in the way, and what has got in the way in the past? Again, being realistic, because we really don't want to get to a point where we're at the point where we wanted to reach the goal and now we're super demotivated because we didn't. It's got to be time bound. So, I want to lose 8 kilos. Well, you need a time to do that in, to create a sense of urgency. Every day you've got in your head, right, I need to keep pushing because I need to reach this goal by this certain time. One life mentality. This is the mentality of, I have one life to be the best version of myself. Before I applied this mentality, I was going through life with no sense of urgency, always saying tomorrow. Once I introduced this mentality, I'm now attacking goals with intensity and urgency, getting things done to the best of my ability in the moment. Why is this so important? Well, we always say tomorrow, but what if tomorrow never comes? And I don't mean ceasing to exist or going off the face of the planet. I mean, for example, okay, I'm going to put my workout off until tomorrow. Well, what if something comes up tomorrow that you urgently need to attend to? You've missed that workout that could have gave you more progress now. So, understanding that you have one life and you really need to get urgent to be the best version of yourself within it is the mentality we try and bring to a lot of goals we set for ourselves. Pillar 2, sustaining progress. Now, you guys will know that there's many cases of people having drastic weight loss journeys or getting into the shape they wanted to at the start of their journey and then having a yo-yo effect, going right back to where they were before, or in some cases, an even worse situation. Now, this is because these people don't have the proper habits instilled into them to sustain their progress, and that's what I'm going to take you through right now. Progress is a lifelong journey that requires effort and perspective. So, first of all, accountability. This is going to be the most important habit you instill to sustain your progress. Understanding that the work is on you. Yes, the coaches here at Ultimate Fitness Global can give you the tools necessary to reach your goals, but the results are on you to get. We're simply just a vessel for you to get there. Before I introduced accountability into my life, I was always blaming others for my problems, never for myself. Never understood why I couldn't get tasks completed. And that links to what I said before, because I was always blaming others. It was never on me. I was waiting around for something to, maybe save me from where I was. But that thing never comes. It's always on you. And then I introduced accountability. I'm the problem, only I can fix it. I stopped blaming the people around me. And yes, crap can happen. People can get you down in life. There's things that are out of your control, but what is in your control is how you react to these situations. And through doing this, I'm now breaking through all of my plateaus. Routine. This is something that I feel is heavily overlooked when someone is trying to reach a goal. And I'm just going to quickly run you through the things that I would expect from someone when creating a routine. So, waking up and falling asleep at the same time every day to the best of your abilities. Obviously, there will be nights where it's harder to get to sleep and will be days where it's harder to get up. Travel, stress, etc. They can all get in the way. But doing your best. This will set your body clock, set a positive tone for the day ahead, and it will also, from a recovery standpoint, be very beneficial as well. Eating pretty much the same things every day, at least to the macros, but we definitely recommend eating the same types of foods every day as well. So there's a lack of fluctuation in water weight, stress levels, etc., and we can track things properly. Having a set routine in the gym is really important. Not going into the gym wondering what weights you're going to use, what exercises you're going to use. You go in with certainty. So those are a few of the things that we expect in a routine. The benefits of doing stuff like this is it gives you a sense of time efficiency, more serenity within your mind, because you know when things have to get done and how to do them. So before I had a routine instilled for myself, I was never being time efficient. I was not being able to fulfill all the tasks that I needed to. And then when I introduced the correct routine, having more time and less stress, and now tasks are getting completed when I want them to. Pillar 3, physical training. A stronger body can create a stronger mind. In many cases, a stronger mind can actually create a stronger body, so they go hand in hand very well. But when we discipline ourselves to do physical training and get in better physical shape, it can improve our mental state drastically too. So training split routine, I think this is something that many people lack when they're wanting to get into shape. They're going into a workout, knowing what muscle groups they're wanting to train, but they don't really know what exercises they're going to do this workout, what order they're in, how many sets, how many reps, etc. This makes things very hard to track and to know if we're doing the right thing, because it takes a certain amount of time of doing something to know if it truly works for us. So how do we make a training split routine? Well, I'm going to briefly run you through this video. I'm not going to go into too much nuance because it would take a whole nother video to explain it, but I'll quickly run it through you now. So frequency, how many sessions you're committing to a muscle per week. So for muscle growth and strength gain, I recommend at least 2 to 3 times per week. This ensures that once our muscles have recovered from a session, we hit them again. Once they've recovered, we hit them straight away again. This means we're not missing any opportunity for muscle growth and strength gain. And this could be in the form of a full body workout 3 times a week, upper lower twice a week, push-pull legs twice a week. You could even do front to back twice a week, which I don't see many people doing, but I don't see anything wrong with it due to the frequency actually being there. Then we've got a volume. So how many sets we give a muscle per workout. And this is going to be dictated by our frequency. So if we're training the muscle 3 times a week, I would do 1 to 2 sets per muscle per workout. If it's 2 times a week, I'll be doing 2 to 4 sets per muscle per workout. We also want to be thinking about our rest times as well. So I'd recommend at least 3 to 5 minutes. This ensures our central nervous system has enough time to recover. We get enough motor unit recruitment for the next set so we can perform as well as possible. And it means we can go in with aggression mentally. We're ready to go. We also want to be tracking the weights that we're using in our workouts. building upon them within rep ranges. So for rep ranges, when it comes to your heavier compound movements, I'd recommend lower reps. So anywhere from 3 to 8 reps there. When it comes to your more isolated movements, because it's harder to perform with heavier weights, I would recommend higher rep ranges. So anywhere from about 8 to 15. Any more reps than this I find to be far too fatiguing, and any more reps will probably cause the same amount of stimulus, but the fatigue that comes with it I find not to be worth it. Understanding the art of training. Now, it's all well and good knowing what split we should be doing, but understanding how to perform the exercises within this split will determine how well we grow. Understanding the art of training, how to perform the exercises, how to approach our training sessions. It's all well and good knowing the split we should be doing and what exercises we should be selecting in the rep ranges. But we want to create the best results possible and reduce that chance of injury which can hold us back. So before introducing the correct principles, I was constantly getting injured. I was half-arsing all my reps, meaning I had to use more weight to create the same amount of tension within the muscle, increasing the chance of injury. And I was not seeing the progress in strength and size that I wanted to see. After introducing the correct principles, I'm now pretty much never getting injured. I feel stronger than ever, and I'm getting newbie gains all over again. So what are the correct principles? Well, first of all, we want to be thinking about intensity. This means how close we train a muscle to failure point. Failure point being we cannot perform another rep. For beginners, I would say that you train all out till failure. You train to a point where you cannot get another rep with good form. And you have to be honest with yourself here. You have to really dig deep, push as hard as you possibly can, and by the end of the set, be able to say to yourself, I could have definitely not got another rep. Once you get more experienced, I would say 2+ years of training, you can start thinking about leaving reps in reserve to minimize that fatigue buildup over the week. But again, for the beginners, they don't have a real true understanding of what the failure point is. It's only really when you are more experienced you understand it and you can start considering leaving those reps in reserve. Another thing you want to be thinking about as well is your range of motion. Don't half-arse your reps. Go ass to grass in your squats. Get as deep of a stretch as possible in your lat pull downs. Your muscles benefit much more in these lengthened ranges most of the time. Not every muscle, but most of our muscles. And by getting this big range of motion, we need to use less weight to create the same amount of tension, reducing that chance of injury. It's also important to understand the anatomy of our body and the way our muscles function. For example, on an incline bench, people think because it's on an incline, it trains the upper chest. That's not true. When you bring your arm across, such as in an incline bench press, that is actually the mid to lower chest function. The upper chest function is bringing your arm up and across. Shoulder flexion and horizontal abduction in the shoulder there. And this is something that we will obviously help you with and guide you through to understand this. But it would take a whole nother video for me to explain the whole anatomy of the body here. But these are the principles you want to be introducing into your training. Pillar 4, diet. Tell me what you eat and I'll tell you who you are. And I don't just mean your physical shape. I also mean your mentality, your discipline. The way you approach your diet will have an effect on all these things. Understanding how to calculate your macros. So before I had an understanding of how to do this and what the best way to do it was, I was constantly fluctuating in my weight. So I was holding more water on certain days. I never had linear progress in my weight for where I wanted it to go at the time. And I had no understanding why I couldn't bulk or cut effectively. Then I introduced the formula that we use in our program, and now I have a steady rate of gain and loss, and finally being able to cut and bulk effectively. So how do we calculate our macros? Well, we first have to understand the calories within the macros. So fat has 9 calories per gram. Protein has 4 calories per gram, and carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram. So how do we figure this out? For protein, it's going to be 1 gram per pound of body weight you want to weigh. For your fats, it's going to be 0.4 grams per pound of body weight you want to weigh. Now, it's a bit more complicated figuring out our carbohydrates, but the way we do it is our goal body weight in pounds times 11, 12, or 13, depending on your activity levels. That's going to be your total calories. Now, what we're going to do is add the calories of the proteins and fats together. So, for example, if I have 130 grams of protein, I simply just times that by 4. And that's my calories. The protein, I do the same things for the fat. I add them together. The remaining calories are going to be your carbohydrates, and you divide that by 4, and that's going to be your carbohydrates in grams. So that's how you calculate your macro. The Ultimate Fitness Global Diet. This is the types of foods we expect you to eat and how you approach your diet. So before I had a good understanding of what types of foods I should be eating, I was feeling sluggish all the time. I had brain fog. I wasn't performing the best I could be in the gym. Just not much energy at all. And I was hitting my macros. I had an understanding of that, but I just couldn't understand why everything else wasn't going along with it, even though the weight was moving in the direction I wanted it to. So I wasn't in the physical shape I wanted to be again. I wasn't going into the gym with, my head locked into it. The energy I wanted to perform well. But after implementing the correct diet, the correct foods, I have more energy than ever. I'm waking up ready to attack the day, not just mentally, but physically. And I'm now in the best physical shape of my life, and I'm constantly progressing that. So what foods should we be eating? Well, we say majority whole foods, and at least 80% of your foods should be whole foods. So single ingredient stuff like steaks, potatoes, veg, etc. The rest will be more multi-ingredients foods, processed foods. And the problem with the processed foods is that they don't just have harmful ingredients in them, such as seed oils and food dyes, etc., that can affect our endocrine system, our hormonal system. They lack nutrients, not giving us the energy we need, not helping us in terms of our sleep, skin health, hair health, etc. There's so many variables in terms of how we can improve our health. But that's something that the whole foods definitely help with. They carry those nutrients to better us physically and mentally. So we also recommend that you eat the same types of foods every day. Now, this might sound boring, but trust me, once you kind of find the foods that you enjoy and can stick to on a regular basis, it doesn't seem so boring. But what it does give you is a sense of certainty. We won't have big fluctuations in our weight because some food does carry more salt than others. That can affect our water weight, things like that. It can also mean that we can track how we react to certain foods better. Do certain foods bloat us more than others? So that's what we recommend. Planning ahead. For many people, this will be a make or break, especially if you have a busy schedule. And before I was implementing meal prep, I was always picking the quickest options, and they are usually highly processed. So say I was out and about in a different area, I'd go to shop, and because I'm so hungry, I didn't prep some meals ahead. I'll just go for the quickest things to eat. And our brain loves sugar because as we go throughout the day, our blood sugar levels drop. So it craves the easier sugar source, which is usually the things like chocolates, donuts, etc. Things that are obviously not good for our health. And I was spending way more money than I needed to, because every time I was trying to get the right foods in, obviously when you're out, it costs more. You have to go to a restaurant, or, it's higher quality foods in a shop, which do cost more. But once implementing meal prep, I'm now constantly reaching my goals while eating healthy whole foods. And I'm not spending as much money with much less stress. So, meal prep, you need to find foods that you can kind of batch cook ahead, because there's lots of scenarios and a lot of clients I work with where they'll say, I was at this event, I didn't have time to eat well and there wasn't much options there. If you prepared in advance, that would have not been a problem. You need to kind of look ahead in the future. And you can't do it all the time. There's things that pop up very, very suddenly that make this very hard. You can still work to your best abilities within that. But most of the time you can plan ahead. Most of the time you can prepare the meals ready. It's just a case of how willing you are to do that, how much you care about reaching your goals. So that is a huge recommendation for us. Look ahead in the future. Plan those meals that you need. And it could also be a case of in your physical training, if you're going on holiday, try and look for gyms nearby. Plan ahead of what exercise routine you're going to have. So you can't make that excuse to yourself, I was on holiday, I didn't really have much time and I didn't really know what to do. You did. You knew this event was upcoming, so don't make the excuse to yourself that you don't have time. Majority of cases, you do have the time. You just need to be more willing to. Now that you understand exactly how this process works, we have an offer for you. If you're ready to take your life to the next level, sick of constantly letting yourself down, wanting to make improvements in your physique and mentality, wanting to gain knowledge in nutrition, training, and mentality to make sure you can sustain consistent progress, and you're ready to become the man you've always wanted to be. Now our offer is 16 weeks of coaching and coursework to help you reach your optimum. These 16 weeks will include tailored training splits, tailored dietary setups, coursework to help maximize your progress, habit training to gain a monk mode mindset, daily message check-ins, weekly video chat check-ins, and unlimited support via WhatsApp. We track you guys heavily to ensure that you are going to get the best results possible. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was educational for you. If you are interested in our offer we are running right now, click the link in our description. You'll be sent to a video chat consultation with myself so I can help you change your life.